And I asked her, would it be all right if I kissed you? And she said,
I guess so.
my name is Benny Miller. And I started writing to Miss Drake in 1966 on the 14th of February, which was 5 days after my 25th birthday.
And I was June Drake, and I was 26 years old at the time.
It all started with my sister, who sent a letter saying she knew I was lonely, stationed in Hawaii in the Navy. And she told me there was this nice girl that she worked with that would like to be pen pals, but I had to write first. So I did.
And then he sent me the first letter. Dear Miss Drake, today is Valentine's Day, you know, and I can think of no better way to start a letter to someone I mean to say, don't even know, than to wish them a happy Valentine's Day, or whatever you are supposed to wish people on Valentine's Day. I think it is just a little bit early for me to ask you to be my Valentine.
That's how we got to know each other.
G-Dad had this just plain vanilla colored paper that he wrote on, and his handwriting was so very neat, and mine was the complete opposite. I wrote on thinner sheets of paper, and my it didn't have lines, so my writing would go downhill. You nearly have to turn your head to read my letters.
That initially that was not true, but after 3 weeks or a month or something, they started going downhill. And I said, now I'm getting to know this girl.
Yeah,
She's not
sloppy,
so shy.
a sloppy writer. I think we basically just talked about our everyday lives, you know, what was going on with us and everything, and just got to know each other. Even though we'd never met, we got to know each other. I remember writing almost every day, you know, so I worked in downtown Dallas at Hartford near the post office. So I would go into the post office to mail the letters every day when I was going to lunch.
I look forward to those letters. And I think at the time, pretty sure, I only got my mail on base. And I didn't live on base. So there were times when I spent 3 or 4 days away. But it was a treat to go in and hopefully get maybe more than one letter. The first picture she sent me, she knows which one it is. She was standing outside her Impala in a white blouse with black polka dots.
Over that year, he sent me a bunch of them, and one of my favorite ones was just him not even in Navy uniform, but pants and shirt, and he was standing outside building where he worked at. And that was my favorite one because it was just a snapshot, and I carried that around with me for that whole year.
As far as pictures go, eventually we agreed to some fancy studio portraits that we sent. And of course, my hair was combed nicely, and I was showing off my first class chevron in my Navy uniform. And she sent me a beautiful picture, and they both sit on our dresser drawers to this day. And every once in a while, I kiss that girl. I wanted to meet her. I wanted to see her. I hope she let me kiss her.
And well, I was anxious to meet him, you know, even though I was very shy about it, but I still wanted to meet him. We didn't have any idea where it would go after that, but it was good that we were finally going to meet. for our first meeting, I went out and bought a new dress and some fancy. Everybody wore really high heels then, and I had bought a new pair of that. I was all set for all that, and waiting for him to come. He had written me that he would be coming.
And the arrangement was she was supposed to pick me up at the airport. But I got in like 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was a couple days before I went to meet her. And I went with my sister, Shirley, and her husband, Don. And she wasn't home, and it was a Sunday, and my sister told me she often goes up to visit her parents. So we sat out there for an hour, went and got something to eat, and then we come back and we sat for another hour. And they were getting impatient. And then we saw the Impala pull up. And I had not contacted her to tell her. She didn't have a phone. Anyway, I was sitting there in the car. So instead of her wearing her fancy new dress and being all spiffed up and everything, she had just come from her parents' house, and her hair was in giant rollers. And she was wearing a red and white short sleeve blouse and some rather tight pants that I walked behind her and really appreciated those pants. But anyway, I come walking across the street and I said, hello. And she said, hi. And I said, would you mind if I come up to your apartment with you? And she said, no. And she walked a little bit in front of me. We were both nervous. And then I said, do you know who I am? Which sometime later I thought was kind of stupid, because it was like saying, do you invite just anyone on the street up to your apartment? But anyway, that was our meeting.
I was so shy and so nervous and everything, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to talk to people.
And I was making a great effort to make up for that. So I just pried in every cabinet door and looked in her refrigerator and asked her what she ate. Oh, I was really impressed, because her apartment was fancy. It had music, which is like elevator music. But anyway, we're sitting on her couch, sort of next to each other, not touching. And I asked her, would it be all right if I kissed you? And she said,
I guess so.
so, which, after writing, we knew a lot about each other, but we'd never been together. And it seemed proper for the kiss.
And the rest is history.
I'm 82.
And I am 84, and
Been together 56 years.
yes.
Well, 57 if you include the letter writing.
Why do you think that y'all have been able to stay together so long?
One thing, we have let each other be who we are. You have to do that, I think.
Well, at the same time, we changed each other.
Yes, we did.
But we
definitely
did not consciously set out to change each other. When we first met, I drank, I smoked, and I didn't go to church. And she was a good Baptist lady. And she brought our kids up as good Baptist kids. And though I never became a Baptist, I did appreciate and probably adapted some of her beliefs. Among other things, I haven't drank in 40 years, and I haven't smoked in 15 or 20. So she changed me, and I know I changed her.
So that was the most important thing. I think that you work through that, and you do change each other.